May I have your attention, please? The podcast World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment, is now on the air. May I have your attention, please? The podcast World Awakenings is now on the air.
This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things metaphysical and spiritual, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
We welcome you to the World Awakenings podcast. Before we start, we'd like to tell you about a special ebook written by the show's host, Carl Gruber. The Three Pillars, a simple three-step process to manifest positive and permanent change in your life. The concise 32-page Three Pillars ebook will teach you how to become a successful and consistent co-creator of your life path with the law of attraction. Yes, you can manifest the life you truly desire, and the ebook is absolutely free. Simply go to Carl's website, carlgruberlifecoach.com. That's KARLGRUBER lifecoach.com. Click on the header title About Me and get the free download today. Carl Gruber's free ebook, The Three Pillars, will positively change your life.
All right, welcome friends to yet another awesome episode of this podcast, World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment. Now, in today's episode number 32, we welcome dream worker and law of attraction life coach Bambi Corso. Bambi became a certified dream tender through Dream Tending, a clinical training program created by Dr. Stephen Eisenstadt, president of Pacifica Institute in Santa Barbara, California. Now, she is a member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams and spent 9 years as a review editor for the Dream Network Journal. She also completed her Law of Attraction Life Coaching certification through the Quantum Success Coaching Academy certification program, which I did also. So we're kind of brethren in that. And she also received her certification as, if I pronounce this right, therapy practitioner.
Dreams and Therapy.
Okay, practitioner through the Institute of Dreams and Therapy. Whew, I knew I'd try to do that. In her work, Bambi uses her training to help others open their minds to enhance perspectives that support these changes, working to overcome limiting beliefs that may keep someone from manifesting the life they desire. She uses her expertise in dream work to help support that mindset. Now, talking to us live in concert from her home in Thousand Oaks, California, welcome Bambi to World Awakenings.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. So happy to be here with you.
Oh man, this is so awesome. You know, it's funny. I guess it's a synchronous world, you know, on how we come together. You and I both are graduates of Christy Whitman's QSCA Coaching Academy. You were in her first class, right? 2009?
The very first year-long program.
Yeah, it is. It's the best program out there. And I did the 2011-2012 program. And of course, Christy was on the program a couple episodes back, a little while ago. So I gotta go into this right here. I just have to tell, I'll be honest, I have never really studied dreaming and the role of our dreams, how they play in our life. And can you give us some info on this? You're the first dream tender I've ever had on this show. This is awesome.
Hey. Well, you know, the idea with dream work to me is very much a portal. So it's similar to meditation or yoga or, some of these other consciousness raising opportunities that we have. But we have it every single night. Every night we go to sleep, every night we dream, and people don't even think they dream. They don't remember their dreams, but we all actually dream at least 4 to 7 times every single night. And in that time period, we're connected to something else. We're connected to a higher energy that informs us because we're no longer bound by the kind of the ego waking self in the body. So we are much more open to receiving information and gaining insight into different areas of our life, which shows up as the dream imagery that we have. And I use it for a lot of just consciousness building. So whether it's, just trying to work through a problem or trying to get a solution to something, to me, dreams have always been just these huge informers in my life. And just learning their language, I think, is the biggest challenge that people have because they speak in symbol and metaphor. So instead of just coming out and saying something, it speaks in a different kind of imagery and symbolism that it just takes a little bit of training to learn, how to understand it.
So I know you're a spiritual student like I am. Specifically, I am of A Course in Miracles. I know you've studied it too. A Course in Miracles talks about a non-dualistic spirituality where we're actually, everything is a dream. So we dream at night when we're asleep, but when we wake up, it's also a dream, only we perceive our awakened time as reality within an overall dream. But the Course points out something interesting that I find very interesting. When you go to sleep, your dreams also will be in the vein of what your mindset was. If you turn your mindset over to the Holy Spirit or to spirituality, whatever you believe, before you go to bed, you should theoretically have dreams like that. But if you also go to bed upset, or if you have the wrong mindset, leaning towards ego, you can also have dreams like that. Do you feel that's true?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll kind of give you an example. If you watch the news right before you go to sleep, generally people are going to have more upsetting dreams. If you were to meditate before you go to sleep, you're likely to have much calmer dreams. Imagine that whatever is in your mind before retiring for sleep, you are going to marinate in that mindset for the next 6 to 8 hours. So choosing carefully what you feed your mind before you go to sleep is crucial to, number one, having better dreams and also having better sleep. So yeah, the mindset part of it is really important. We just sit there and just reprocess this stuff all night.
Now we live in a world of self-medication, and I'll admit I do enjoy a good beer or two. We tend to drink that. And does alcohol or anything else can that veil or suppress dreams?
It can. It doesn't for everybody. But they say if you really wanted to, like if you wanted to spend a good solid week really focused on your dreams, maybe just abstain or on the nights that you really want to try to pay more attention to your dream. Obviously, anything in high quantities are going to really affect it. But, generally, if I have a glass of wine, I still remember my dreams very well, but I'm not overdoing it either. So, yeah.
Well, I'm interested too because you and I talked on the phone a few days ago before we did this chat here about. I had been reading your website, and you suggest people use a dream journal. How does one go about doing that, and how can a journal help?
Oh, so in my personal opinion, having a dream journal or something to record your dreams on is the most important piece of dream work. And the reason, Carl, is because we forget what we dreamt 2 and 3 weeks ago. So the journal is like the field guide that we carry with us through this journey. Writing down our dreams every day or just whatever we remember gives us the opportunity to go back and see what else we dreamed and what kind of patterns we might be seeing in our dreams. In the journaling that I do, I add in what is called day notes. So I spend maybe 2 or 3 sentences, just any highlights, if there was anything that was, an emotional high or low of the day, if something really unique happened, if something really bothersome happened, I just make note of it so I remembered that something happened. And that also gives me the opportunity to say, well, gosh, when I was feeling this way, I had this dream, or I had this kind of dream. And the next time that I feel that way, it also gives me the opportunity to say, oh, that's interesting, because that imagery was kind of the same the last time I felt this way. So it gives us what I call these tracks to follow. And so the journal allows us the ability to just go back and retrieve the information and see where tracks are being laid through the process of our writing down our dreams that we can then pay more attention to.
And so when you review, I'm interested in that. When you review, let's say you review a month of your dreams in your journal, what are you looking for when you're reviewing your dream? Are you looking for a pattern that you can use to create a better life, or places that you need to change, that type of thing?
Well, so the first the first part of the question, what I'm looking for is anything that's similar, sequences of things. It might be a color, it might be a number, it might be a particular image, a person, an animal, whatever. So I'm keeping an eye for things that repeat, which is different than recurring dreams. And what I'm doing in looking for this is because I'm always using my dream work as a reflection of what's going on in my life and how I can be more conscious and more mindful and aware in my waking life. So that for me is always the goal with dream work. I want to know when I'm off track. I want to know how to, maybe change my thinking or look at something in a slightly different way that's actually going to benefit me, to help me walk the path that I want to walk in life. So, these are like minor little tweaks along the way as we do the dream work, but it's a constant way of bringing consciousness to my life, my thoughts, my behaviors, my patterns every night.
So I can understand that you're looking for patterns that you can utilize to create the life you want. What about, you said they're different from recurring dreams. How? And what can you find in recurring dreams?
So the big difference is I had mentioned maybe you dream of a color. So I have one dreamer I work with, and she keeps having the color red appear. And it keeps appearing in different dreams and different scenarios. But the idea is she's kind of tracking this color red to see what that is for her and how that's informing her. A recurring dream is where I have the exact same dream. And a lot of times this happens when people are much younger. The exact same dream, and it recurs over and over a certain period of time, for many years. Sometimes a recurring dream will end up getting instigated by some kind of a traumatic event, something that really happened that somebody's having a really hard time either moving past or getting over. And so a recurring dream is an identical dream that keeps happening.
Let me give you a personal example on that. As you know, and I know some of my viewers and listeners know that I have been a professional radio disc jockey for 20 plus years in both commercial and public radio. And I've been out of radio for a year or so, and there was a gap too of about 5 years. There is a thing called the disc jockey nightmare. And even I was at one radio station for 16 years, and even many, many, many years, I still have the nightmare from that station. And here's the funny thing. Every single disc jockey I've ever met has the same nightmare. And it's you go in the studio, nothing works. You can't find the music that we're off the air. The man, your boss is mad at you, and you think you're going to get fired, and nothing works. There's nothing but dead air, and that's the worst thing possible in radio is dead air. Yeah. And it still happens after all these years, and it's not just me. Is it possible for there to be a mass consciousness dream like that?
Well, I would imagine, Carl, because that kind of a dream is really, really similar to what happens to students and different people in whatever different professions they are. Those tend to be more anxiety and
Mm.
frustration dreams. And I would question you the next time you have a dream like that, even though you may not be in the profession you were in when you were having these all the time, notice to see if there was anything that happened in the last 24 to 48 hours that
Mm.
kind of made you feel like, I'm not feeling quite ready. I'm not quite prepared. That same feeling, like really tap into the emotional
Yeah.
feeling of the dream and see if there's something in your waking life that has also kind of just re-triggered that go-to in your dreams.
That's a really good point, and that would make sense to have a dream journal, because then you could go back and review and trigger that. Yeah, interesting. So I did start a dream journal, and be honest, I've been fairly inconsistent with it, and I think well, I'm going to try your suggestion. I haven't had the journal next to my bed at night,
Okay.
and so when I get up. And you even say that in one of your blogs. I was reading one of your blogs on your website about that you should, as soon as you get up, you should write them, or if you can, in the middle of the night, as soon as you have it, to do it. And that's probably a good idea because I have forgotten.
Right, right. Yeah, there's two things with dream journals that I think is important. The reason to have it next to your bed is twofold. Number one, it's there so that the second that you have your dream and you can immediately write it down. But the other reason, and you'll understand this from a law of attraction standpoint, is you're setting an intention and you're showing the universe, I am dedicated to paying attention to my dream life. So if I leave my open notebook and pen right here next to my bed, I'm
Yes.
already helping to manifest the fact that I'm going to start having more dreams. So that's why that is really helpful in two totally different kind of ways.
That is a really good point. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you are a certified law of attraction life coach and a dream tender. So, and let's go back to what we said in the bio. You're also certified in tarot, and what role can tarot play in helping a person's life, be better or happier? And what exactly is tarot anyway?
Well, yeah, let me go kind of, I'll backtrack a little bit. So Dreams in Therapy is a certification program by a woman by the name of Lauren Schneider. And this is something that she developed in working with dreams, and also in her therapy practice. So it's not actually reading tarot cards. What she does instead, and what we then got certified in, is there's so many decks now of oracle cards. So I mean, you could probably find 75 to 100 at least nowadays because they're everywhere, but they all have different imagery.
Oh.
The idea is if somebody's trying to work through a process, or they're trying to understand something in their life, they're trying to make a decision, or they're trying to understand a dream, whatever the question is, they will you pull cards from whatever deck you kind of feel drawn to, and what you're doing is you're looking at the imagery to see how that might reflect what's going on for you, and so you're not doing any kind of future telling. You're using it as almost like a waking dream image, so the imagery is going to also help you reflect and become conscious of certain things that you might not have noticed if you hadn't been looking at the image. That it kind of brings me to a little bit about, I talk about in the book the power of images, and we are surrounded by imagery all day long, constantly.
Mm.
And yet somehow at night, our dreams are pulling on very specific pieces of that. So why that image? Why that image now? And so, in a similar kind of way, it's also using the power of imagery to communicate or even just reflect something back to you. So it's just a whole different way of working with cards and images and dreams.
Well, this is all very, very interesting to me. I mean, really, these are two areas that I've never really studied very much about, dreams and tarot. So let me ask you about which before somebody corrected me, I used to say, oh, you use tarot cards, huh? pronounce the T. Okay, tarot. Does tarot, it seems to me, I mean, as an outsider looking, never really practiced it and just seen it, do you think there's what's a myth of, is there a form people believe it's magic, or what is it? Is it a form of psychic ability?
I think there's probably a lot of different thoughts behind it, but in the reading that I've done about the cards, I think it's very much, again, back to law of attraction, that we're pulling the cards that we need to be informed by something else. So, you know, you as the person is the one pulling the cards. You're asking the question, you're pulling the cards, and somebody else is helping you to interpret them. But, you know, again, I don't know how to read tarot cards. I have studied them. It goes back so many years, and, you know, people have used them for all kinds of different things. But yeah, I mean, I do think that they are certainly there to help share information, and it is pulling on something else.
I love how you bring things back to the law of attraction, and yeah, it just makes complete sense to me. But and forgive me for this, I think I'm still not sure. So the use of tarot cards, is that different from tarot? Did I pronounce that right? Therapy?
Therapy.
Is that like therapy? Therapy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's how she came up with the name for that was exactly that. So there's a difference between all the different decks. There's tarot cards that are very specific, future telling type of decks. There are other cards that Colette Baron Reed is a great example of somebody more recent who now does card decks that create decks on animal energy or Celtic, or, you know, and there's hundreds of different types of decks. So you can, I'm trying to think how to explain this in a way that it's not done as a future telling. Again, you're in the dreams and therapy work that we do. It's allowing a person to choose the deck that they most resonate with. They'll choose cards that they don't see, and then they're going to pose their questions and then turn the cards over and just see what they see in the card.
Okay.
So it's not like somebody would have to be trained as a tarot card reader to do the kind of work, because you're working with the images that you see and how they're applying to your question in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. So just going back to dreams per se right now, is there any dramatic dream experience or story that you might have personally, or even with clients you work with, that can really emphasize what you're talking about?
You mean as a general thing, or with regard to tarot?
Personal experience yourself, even with your own. Was there any particular dream or dreams that have helped you to change your life? Or, I mean, you don't even have to be specific, but
you know, I mean, I have written down over 8,000 dreams. It's really hard to keep track of that many of them, but I will say that they're all part of this journey. And yes, of course, I've had a lot of what we call big dreams. I would say, I mean, I've had, well, for example, too, I'm going to sidebar here just a little bit. I want to comment about dreams and paying attention when they're important as they relate to waking life. And
yes.
This particular dream came it's been about 10 years ago. The way that dreams have the ability to inform you about your health and your body, because generally we look at them as symbolic, but there are times when they are sharing something that's important for you to understand about your body. So I had a dream that I was in a hallway talking to my doctor, and he said to me, well, you have breast cancer, or you're going to get breast cancer. And that was pretty much the whole dream. It was very short. It was very to the point. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it down. I thought, okay, well, that's, it's disturbing because it was so direct. And I had a sense and it's also probably a belief system that I have, that a lot of times that the cancer is a manifestation of us being unable to express something or share something or holding something inside, that kind of thing. And so, one of my own personal life challenges has always been really learning how to express myself. And I knew intuitively after having the dream that something had to shift. I needed to do something. I needed to learn how to use my voice more. And so about 7 years later, I ended up being diagnosed with breast cancer. So it wasn't a huge shock, because I did on some level have some sense that something was going on, or something was in the process of going on. But I also, became extra mindful to pay attention to that over the next many years. So, we can be informed by dreams that way. That was, of course, a huge life changer. Another example was a dream. So at the very beginning of my dream career, when I was first working with Stephen Eisenstadt, I knew I wanted to do dream work. I had been doing it for years before, but I hadn't been certified or anything like that. And I had a dream that, and this was like the late 90s, I guess. I had a dream that I'm in a huge auditorium and I'm with Dr. Eisenstadt, and the stands are filled with people, and he is going to introduce this couple, but instead he hands me the microphone and he says, "Will you do it?" And I go into this, this utter shock. Oh my God, what do you mean? I don't know what to say. How am I going to do this? I don't even know them. So in the dream, I won't go into too much detail, but in the dream, there was the name Bob and Hope. That was the couple, and they were the Link family. And so, I fumbled my way through it, but I woke up and I was so bothered by the fact that I did not know what to say that I signed up for Toastmasters within the week.
Yeah.
And I spent 2 years learning public speaking, because I realized, if I can't speak publicly, how am I ever going to be able to share dream work? And so that was a huge shift for me, Carl. I mean, my life definitely changed after doing that, and kind of what I call that honoring the dream, where you take an action on behalf of the dream that does something to change in your waking life, that is helpful. So that, it was interesting, because when I went to the first Toastmasters meeting, the name of the group was Rhetorical Link, which I thought was interesting because that was the name of the family.
Thank you.
And the guy who was teaching that night started off with a quote from Bob Hope. So it was very synchronistic, but it was just enough for me to say, you know what, you are in exactly the right place at exactly the right time.
Oh man, beautiful perspective. I love your examples because you really did see, most of us get up and, we don't journal our dreams, we forget it, we don't pay attention, but yet you use specific dreams as cues to make changes in your own life. Yeah. So beautiful. That was a beautiful example. Thank you for that. So, you're also a certified law of attraction life coach. How can you integrate the law of attraction with your dream tending and tarot work, especially now during, this crazy time where, the entire world is in a spiral of chaos and stress and fear. And how can people use a combination of the LOA, the dream tending and tarot therapy to create a better life, especially now during these crazy times?
Right. Well, for myself, the dreams have certainly helped me and kind of my circle of dreamers get through this whole COVID and other crazy stuff going on the planet, because it gives us a grounding. And it gives us a place to kind of meet. We have, I'm part of a dream group, a wonderful dream group by Walter Berry. He does this every Sunday night, and it helps all of us stay connected. We do it all on Zoom, where it used to be in person for them, and so we get to reflect on each other's dreams and help see where there are what I like to call kind of points of light. And so in a dream, there's been a lot of COVID dreams, by the way. Derek Barrett has just put out a book about all of these pandemic dreams that are going on, because they're, it's planetary. But there's usually in these dreams, if you pay really close attention, there's something. And it could literally be, a little candle off in the corner. It could be a book over off to the side. But the more you start paying attention to your dreams, you start looking for something in there that brings a sense of the generative spirit or peace or calm or something. And so that's how I've been using my dreams to move through all of what's going on in the outer world. As far as kind of using the law of attraction and my dream tracking now. So the interesting thing is that dreams are also very emotion filled. And so law of attraction is very connected to our emotional state, right? What we're vibrating, what we're putting out into the world, we're also getting back to us. The more we pay attention to our dreams, Carl, the more we realize where our vibrational set point is. And so if I keep having dreams that are putting me in a fearful place or a scared place or an uncertain place, if I am paying attention, I will realize that I can use that information from the emotional part of the dream and make, whether it's affirmations, whether it's just, conscious word choice, to shift my vibration to a higher place. So it gives me that opportunity, to see where I'm at, because sometimes we're not sitting paying attention all the time. Oh my God, how do I feel? How do I feel? But the dreams will definitely point it out to you. And it does give us that opportunity then to use that to shift and to raise our vibration.
Wow, that's some really good advice, good suggestions. Wouldn't it be great? The law of attraction applies to mass consciousness too, and there's almost 8 billion people living on the planet. So and most of those people are in a state of fear right now. So unfortunately, law of attraction is sending more to be fearful on a global basis. Wouldn't it be great if the population of the world could shift to a position where they use that, mass consciousness of law of attraction to bring something not to be fearful, to be healthy? And yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of, wraps around to us talking about what you focus on before you go to sleep. That of course that has to also then go into your day life, into your waking life. But, it is a conscious choice what you decide to feed yourself with. And, I follow Anita Morijani.
You and I talked about her last week. She's one of my favorites.
I love her.
Yeah.
And, she's on Instagram, and she never does something where she's taking sides or pushing fear or anything. She always pulls everything back to love. And she's always reminding people that, love really is all there is. And in the Course in Miracles, it's like, it's either love or it's fear, And so I think there's huge truth in the fact that if we focus more on love and not so much on polarity, that we definitely have more of an ability to shift our consciousness and focus on something that's so much more.
Sorry.
More,
it's a gigantic 17-pound cat.
Look at her.
The funny thing is, the name Maya means illusion. So we're only imagining there's a giant cat.
Right?
Maya, go away. Go over there.
She showed up when we were talking about love, so there must be something to it.
Go on, girl. Look, she's off on a different planet. But Anita Morijani is an amazing character. She had what they call NDE, a near-death experience that was phenomenal, and she wrote her book, Dying to Be Me, and an extensive experience about that. Dr. Wayne Dyer picked up her cause and helped her get it published on Hay House Publishing, and I really suggest anybody read that book. And so she firsthand, during her near-death experience, experienced unconditional love.
Yeah.
And so now she came back from near death to teach the rest of us. And yeah, she's beautiful, beautiful lady. So, oh my gosh, I'm just astounded. I'm so glad that you're on the program because, again, these are areas I've never really extensively explored the dreaming and the therapy. And of course, we're both on the same page on law of attraction. So this is where I get to ask my one question I ask almost all of my guests on World Awakenings. Why now, more than ever, do you think that the population of the world is awakening to all things enlightening and spiritual and metaphysical?
I believe it's been a long time coming. Also, I think that people have been expecting something, we just didn't know what it was going to be. And it's very interesting to me that this is the entire world is going through the exact same thing for the first time that I know of in any kind of history. But what it's done is it's made everybody slow down, and even just these stay-at-home orders. People aren't on the freeway. They're not going out to work. They're staying indoors. And there are segments of extra time, I think. And in this kind of slowing down that we are in this year, I believe that people have taken the opportunity to use that to do more self-work. Because generally, people haven't had the extra time. And not that you need a lot of time to work on your spirituality or anything like that. Even 5 minutes a day is helpful. But I think it's reconnected people to what is most important. And I think that it's a huge it's a reflector, it's like when you have, it's just like, if somebody passes away, you realize the quality and, the sacredness of life. So in a certain kind of way, this whole year has been showing us again what is most important, what do we most want out of our life. And it's almost like we get to make these choices more consciously. It's not something that happened per se. We're getting to think about things we wouldn't normally think about, even if they're not our direct, if it hasn't happened to us or we haven't gotten sick this year or that kind of thing.
Well, I appreciate your answer. And I think also, too, that way before this pandemic, this fear-demic hit, the population of the world was gravitating and opening up to all things enlightening. And despite, the world being in the grip of this whole thing and people being fearful, I don't think that the movement towards the light through understanding, through unconditional love has waned. I believe that more people than ever, I mean, of course, there are more people than ever before on the planet, so consequently there would be more people, but I don't think that's stopped. And you are absolutely right. It has brought, the 2020 has caused many of us to slow down and be introspective. I've basically been like that for a very long time, but even myself, surprisingly peaceful time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been getting a lot more reading done. I mean, my TV's not even hooked up, so I read a lot anyway. But yeah, so now more than ever, it's needed to awaken to all things enlightening.
Absolutely, and I think that's what helps us get us through things.
Yeah, let's hope it happens. Let's use our law of attraction to make it happen then.
Right.
Well, let me ask you, and we alluded to this earlier, talk about this book that you've been working on for a long time. This will be your first full book yourself, right? And what's the title of it?
Yeah, so the book is called Dream Tracking, How to Track Your Dreams or Learn to Track Your Dreams and Transform Your Life. And what I do is it's kind of a combination between my years of life coaching and my years of dream work. So there's a lot of carryover between dream life and waking life. But I originally had the idea for the book from a dream in 2002.
Oh, wow.
And I've been making notes and, researching off and on for many, many years. And it was not until the breast cancer scare that I realized, this has been a lifelong passion. I always wanted to write a book before I could walk pretty much. And so I've used the last 3.5 years to focus entirely on finishing the book. And what it's about is, everything from just teaching how to have better recall, how to journal your dreams, to what to look for in dreams, how to approach dreams with a curious state of mind, and how to access your the body response to dream images, the instinctual response, intuitive hits, synchronicity. So I try to tie a lot of things into them because I don't really believe that the dreaming world is something that's separate from us, right? This is part of us, part of our dynamic whole. And our dreams are there for a reason, and they are given to us by the Creator for help, I believe, in the waking world. So, both worlds are informing each other all the time. There's kind of like the veil and lifting the veil every night. So I work to show people how to pay attention to their dreams, how to understand what the dream may be speaking to. I don't really do dream interpretation, as it were, because I believe that everybody can only really know their own images. And I believe that dreams change over time. So the same dream that I may have had two years ago, in 30 years, I might reread that dream and have a completely different insight about the dream. So they're always informing us. And Marianne Woodman spoke about this, that she was, spent most of her life still working on one particular dream and how it shifted over time. I go into, so like I said, engage your curiosity is kind of the first principle in the book. Explore your emotions. And it's in that section, Carl, that I go into a lot of the law of attraction and the whole idea of, our emotional set points and what we're putting out and what we're getting back and how that's affecting our life. Following the tracks is the third principle. So how do I start paying attention to what is being presented in my dreams, and how to follow those tracks, And then the last principle is honor the dream, where we do something on behalf of a dream in the waking world, which is part of this kind of full circle, everything's connected type of thing. So I've done artwork, I've written poetry, I signed up for Toastmasters, and I have all the dreamers that I work with. You do something on behalf of the dream. Most of the time, it's something that's just a little bit creative or a little bit more right-brained, and that helps, again, show the dream time how serious you are about wanting to learn from your dreams and wanting to be informed and guided by your dreams.
Wow, this book sounds really fascinating, and it's just simply called Dream Tracking?
Mm-hmm. Dream Tracking, yep.
By Bambi Corso. And do you have a publication date for it yet?
I am hoping to have it out in December, so we're well on our way and waiting for the book cover to be finished right now.
Nice.
Just a couple of small pieces, but it's almost ready.
Yeah,
So,
I want a signed copy.
you got it.
Well, I find it interesting, just talking to you about all this stuff has really opened my mind. And I mean, when you think the fact that most people, they wake up, okay, I had that dream, and off into the ether. And yet here we are, we spend a third or more of our life sleeping in dreaming the whole time.
Oh yeah. And even, some of the most, people could just Google the question, famous inventions that came out of dreams, and they would be shocked to see the kinds of things and, Pulitzer Prize things, helping to finish the sewing machine, huge mathematical and chemistry related inventions and realizations that came right out of people's dreams. Books that have been written. I mean, the Twilight series was inspired by a dream. Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Gandhi, he had a dream that helped with the whole Rowlatt Act. There is so much fascinating information that it's not as ethereal as it always may seem, right? There's something so tangible about bringing dream work into your waking life, because it literally does change your waking life. It's just a fun project just to Google, like I said, these things and just see the kinds of things that people have done is fascinating.
Wow. This is just all fantastic stuff. I just thought of a question, and I'm sorry, I should have thrown this in earlier, but it just came to me. What's the difference between regular dreaming and, quote, lucid dreaming? What is lucid dreaming?
Well, lucid dreaming is where you become conscious within the dream. There are a whole group of amazing people who, they study it, they teach it. There's actually at the time of this recording, there's a lucid dreaming summit going on. People like Claire Johnson and Robert Wagner and Stephen LaBerge used to write books about lucid dreaming. So it's an entirely different way of dreaming, and yet you're still tapping into that same place, but with more of a consciousness. So people can, and I am not, this is definitely not my expertise. I've had it happen to me a few times, but generally lucid dreaming has just been much more difficult for me personally. But people can go there. They can connect with people who have passed on. They can go and they can access Akashic record information. They can, there is a lot of interesting stuff that can be done if you can, consciously awaken within a dream.
It almost sounds like during lucid dreaming, you're on the periphery of being physically awake, but you're really not. You're just kind of almost in a transition between regular dreaming and being awake physically.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, like I said, I'm sorry, I should have asked that earlier, but this has just been awesome stuff. I mean, amazing. We've been talking to Bambi Corso, who is a certified dream tracker, a certified law of attraction life coach, certified in therapy, and just some amazing stuff. A new book coming out in December. Her first book, Dream Tracking. Honestly, I want to get a copy of that. I'm excited for you.
You got it, Carl. I'd be happy.
Wow, we may have to have you back on the show too, because it sounds like we've got a lot more to talk about. How can people find you? How can they contact you if they want to work with you in coaching and dreaming? You have your own website, right?
Yep. That's probably the best place. It's got all, a contact page right on there. I also have a newsletter that I send out about quarterly that people can sign up for, and you get a free gift if they, join the email list of the 10 top tips to remember your dreams. So just to get started, helps them with a few things they may not think of to try to start remembering their dreams better. But the website is www.bambicorso.com.
Corso, Corso.com. Yes. Yeah, I signed up for your email newsletter, so I got my first one. Thank you for that.
Hey, good.
Wow, just a wonderful chat. Thank you, Bambi, for being on World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment, and truly very, very enlightening. And I hope our listeners and viewers enjoyed it. Just some great stuff. Thank you, Bambi.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in each and every episode of this podcast, World Awakenings, as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that all the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things metaphysical and spiritual, and just how they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment everyday life. Much love and light to you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in.